Tom and Z, morning rounds.
We doing it.
We doing it.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm in Vegas.
What is it? You're a doctor. Tell me this. What is it about when you have to do some shit the next day that you can't fucking sleep that night?
Every time.
What is that?
Like last night, I was like, man, in the morning, I have to take a dump. It's like imperative because I'm old. If I don't have a regular bowel movement then I can't sleep all night, I'm worried about this dump.
Yeah.
And it's unconscious. It's not like you're sitting there going, man, I can't take a dump. It's more like you're just like, I don't know what it is, but like I got akathisia. I can't stay still. I'm all fucked up. It's a real thing, dude. I'm telling you, it's legit. So what's on your mind?
Well,
I know you're angling to tell me something.
I have to do I have to go on an airplane tonight, and just knowing that in the back of my mind is like, now you can't sleep.
Yeah.
And then when I get there, I'm not gonna be able to sleep.
Yep.
And then when I get home, I'm not gonna be able to sleep.
I haven't slept since...
It's like 3 days for 1 day of air travel. It's terrible.
True. I haven't slept since 1987, dude.
I believe it.
This shit's going down all the time. Yeah. No, it is. It's interesting. This anticipatory... it gets back to that whole submind theory, right?
Yeah.
Like these little unconscious parts of your brain are processing constantly, and they're like, hey, you know what? You may not be aware of this, homie, but shit's getting real tomorrow. You're going to have to do... you googly, or you're going to have to, you're going to have to speak in front of like 4,000 financial people, or you're going to have to do whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Sometimes it's just, I'm going to have to present in front of this whack ass attending who's a dick.
Also, Bitcoin is back in a bull market, which is horrendous for my sleep cycling, because I'll just, I'll wake up randomly to pee and I'll be like, I wonder what the Bitcoin price is. And I'm like, oh, it's up $1,000. And then I'll go pee and I'll be like, oh my God, it's down $1,000.
You're on the Bitcoin roller coaster.
Oh my God, the volatility is extreme, Z.
Well, you know what? It's a high beta.
Yeah. I would just like to say, though, if you had listened to me on this show about Bitcoin, you would now be rich.
It's true.
Yeah.
Actually, that's absolutely true. As is true with many speculative bets that happen to hit. But I'm not daring.
How dare you talk to me with reason and financial rigor and acumen.
Tom always prefaces any of his Bitcoin advice to me. He's like, remember, only invest what you're willing to lose.
That's right.
Yeah.
I always all my financial advice ends with, I don't know, though.
Yeah.
So that way you can never say I ruined your life.
And you spell it THO.
Yeah,
because it makes it even that much more formal.
I don't know, though.
Like, hey, man, JK. IMHO. It's not facts. It's just in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, okay, here's something I want to talk about. How come we all know that anti-vax stuff is just propaganda, by dumbasses. And, but yet when I hear from smart people the most often is, well, why can't we slow vax? I want a vax, but I want to do it slowly. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I don't have this feeling. I'm like, whatever you got, give it to her. Just shoot her up. My daughter, I'm like, just shoot her up. What do you got? Mm-hmm. How can we give her some more? Mm-hmm. What you got? You got a vaccine for that? Give it to her, right? And I just want to say, my daughter is just crushing her milestones. Mm-hmm. Okay, just milestone after milestone.
She started with the APGARs, crushed them.
Crushed it.
And that was with the hepatitis B shot.
That's right
there.
That's right.
Right there.
I was a little jilted because she got a 9 on her APGARs, and I know she was a 10, Z.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? Daddy knows best.
That's right.
And
I'm not a trained doctor or nurse, but I know what an APGAR of 10 when I see it.
You've done your research.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Professor Dunning.
I went on Dr. Google and I was like, hey,
so
is my baby a perfect APGAR 10? And they were like, hell yeah, it is.
The Slovaks thing.
Even Peter Attia, when he was on the show, and Peter Attia is blisteringly smart. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, you can watch the guy, the revolutions per minute are, it's crazy.
Yes.
He was talking about slow vaccine.
Right. Well, because it intuitively makes some sense. You're like, well, why not we just spread out the injections and that way we don't overwhelm their body? Well, okay. Fallacy 1 is that these are tiny amounts of antigens compared to what you breathe or eat every single day.
Right.
And so this idea of overwhelming an immature immune system is just dumb. All right. Next, the reason the schedule exists the way it does is it's been looked at. This is the pattern where you're in windows where you're potentially vulnerable to infection. So that's one thing you got to consider. You don't want to take too much time where you're unprotected, especially in the setting of outbreaks like measles that are happening now, pertussis, et cetera. And the way the immune system functions, there's certain windows where it's most effective to give the drug. That's why we don't typically give MMR prior to a year, because there may not be as robust an immune response. Now, we can do it in emergency situations like outbreaks, etc. So keeping to the schedule, there's a reason for it. By delaying it, you open your child to windows of infection, especially if they're in daycare or somewhere where they're exposed, or anywhere now where there's epidemic outbreaks. Now, or outbreaks, I should say. The second thing about this, where I will clarify, is I actually don't feel bad about telling parents, well, maybe if you're worried about giving 5 injections at once from a trauma standpoint to a 4 to 7 year old child where they're actually cognizant.
Yes, yeah, because we had what's her name?
Amy Baxter.
Amy Baxter, yeah.
And you're talking about needle fear, inducing needle fear in their elephant and they're unconscious. Well, then, okay, spread it out over a 1 week or something. Have them come back. And that is the data that she has shows that even that's enough. So you don't have to delay vaccination.
Well, Amy Baxter's basic contention was that the anti-vax movement is a bunch of needle phobics, and this happened to my wife, who is a master's prepared RN. My mother-in-law had her held down, in that window, 4 to 6 to 7, I forget what it was, but she had her held down and given her shots, and since then, crippling fear of needles. I
believe it, man. And her data seems to imply that this is why we're seeing so much drama around 11 to 12-year-old girls and boys around HPV vaccination, because they've been traumatized with multiple injections in one sitting. Yeah. Traumatized meaning mentally. Now, scientifically, there's absolutely no reason not to give them all at once. Yeah. And plenty of reason, too, because part of the problem is people don't follow up. They're lost. They don't come in for that second. And that's the problem. That's where I think Paul Offit would say, no, don't fuck with this. Just keep it,
What is it about that window of 8 to 12 that things that happen to you in that window seem to make a really indelible impression?
I would argue it's even as like a 5 to 8.
Yeah.
And
there's something very specifically in my mind, 8 to 12, which for me would have been 97 to 2000-ish, that era.
So much, you
and
young bastard.
All the references from that era are stuck in my head. Yeah.
Well, what Amy said in the podcast was, there's this concrete operational phase of development where people remember things without the overlay of abstraction. So in other words, they just remember, big scary person came at me with a bunch of needles, don't know why.
Right.
Had no explanation, no context, nothing, because you can't have that at that age very easily, and you don't remember it. So you remember the concrete, but you don't remember the abstract. So that may be a part of it. And then you start getting online abstract reasoning later in life. So 11 to 12, when these girls are having syncopal events because the needle's coming at them, they're probably there's an unconscious fear, and then it becomes a more conscious thing, and then it becomes a vasovagal event where they pass out. And so everyone's like, you see, the HPV vaccine's causing people to pass out. No, that's not what it is, dummy. Get some science on, bitch.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be a better world if we could just correlate all over the place?
Just do nothing but correlation?
For everything, yeah.
Would it be a better world, or would it be an idiocracy that it already is?
It would be the idiocracy it already is, because people are already doing that.
They already do this. Yeah. It's already a better world, Tom Heineberg.
This is a constant battle I'm having with my therapist all the time. My therapist is a therapist, so she's always like, I don't believe that there is an objective truth, and I think that everybody just has their own personal truth. And I'm like, there's objective truth, 100%. You need to shut the fuck up with that. Why do you think everything works? Why do you think your car works? How do you think you got here? Why do you think the air conditioner's on? You think because somebody was like, my personal truth is the room should be cold.
Postmodernism gone wild,
Yeah. Well, the laws of thermodynamics don't give a shit about your personal truth.
Yeah, it has nothing to do. Well, so yes, and that's a beauty thing.
You have your feelings.
Yeah, you can
your
feel.
Your feelings aren't truth.
Yeah, in fact, there's a great fallacy: trust your feelings.
Yeah.
No, you really shouldn't. You should listen to your feelings and try to understand them.
We talked about this on the show. We talked about this.
You shouldn't trust them.
With the abortion thing, where we both felt that we both feel kind of icky about abortion, but we also both feel like we shouldn't be regulating abortion. Right.
Right. And even I say icky is strong for me. What I saw when I was a medical school student felt icky.
Yeah.
And so it really, but it didn't influence what my stance is beyond.
Nah, shut up. You're icky. You feel icky, bro. That's how you described it. And then let this dumb. What? Can I say this person's name?
No.
Why not?
No.
Because
I promised that I wouldn't.
Now
I'm a man of my word.
Well, listen. It was public on Twitter.
Yeah, there was a battle.
And there was this dumbass doctor who's a hardcore liberal who kind of bullied you. And now you kind of like feel like you have to, you know.
Oh, no, not anymore. For a minute, I was bullied, actually, honestly. I felt like, oh, wow, my own tribe hates me. And it feels bad. And then I was like...
That's what liberals do. That's why they can't get together and win an election.
You are so fucking right.
I'm telling you.
Liberals are
because the conservatives get together and they're like, "What's our secret evil plan?"
Yeah,
and they're all like,
"Let's go do it.
Here it is.
Let's go do it."
We're like, "Let's go."
Liberals are like, "Oh, she's a bitch. Oh, you're a fucking cocksucker. You know what? That guy's not liberal enough. He's too liberal."
Also, conservatives respect the hierarchy. So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
who's the guy with the plan? That guy. Everybody follow that guy.
Yeah. And
You know?
and they have a moral taste bud of loyalty versus subversion.
Right.
Where they value loyalty, whereas liberals value subversion.
Right.
So what's more subversive than taking a shit on your own tribe?
Yeah.
So fuck all of them, because that's why they lose. That's why, and that's what I said in our follow-up show. I'm like, the reason pro-choice is losing in the sphere of public action, legislation and stuff, is that they don't understand the other side's moral palette around this.
Right.
I actually do, because I felt a little weird seeing this shit happen. So I said, okay, here's the thing. I can act in a rational way that's in the best interest of the most humans, in my mind, right? While still understanding my feelings about it and not letting them totally guide my actions. However, they do inform me. So I will say, I like contraception. I like family planning. I like preventing unnecessary, unwanted pregnancy. Well, and that I get vilified by the abortion docs, because they're like, you're going to cause people to come and attack our clinics. Really? You think these fuckers are really listening to Z-Dog fucking MD?
No.
And they're like, and then it turns out, so someone sent me a thing where they took your clip out of context. It was a anti-abortion activist group. And I'm like, and?
Yeah. Hey, listen, if they're going to come, do a physical attack on a doctor or on a clinic or on a whatever, they're not listening to Z-Dog MD, random bald Indian man. They're listening to
the voices in their head.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's a man in the sky.
That's right. In their mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's who they're listening to.
Exactly.
I spoke to God and he told me to firebomb that clinic. That's how it goes.
Well, I spoke to General Zod.
That's
and
right.
he told me to kneel before him, okay? Yeah, it's funny. So it's just... So I spoke...
I don't like it. I don't like seeing my friend Z-Dog MD get bullied by some people I consider bitch-ass losers. Okay? I don't like that, Z. That makes me feel icky.
I understand.
And I'm like, you shut the hell up.
It's funny.
It's a fetus until... I'm not even going to get started again.
I'm vastly better for that experience, actually, I think. Because now... I have a better understanding of outrage culture and how the mob can turn instantly. Yeah. And it makes me want to trigger them more.
Mm-hmm. Well, I told you my thing where I infiltrated one of these social justice warrior groups, right? And there's this thing that social justice warriors like to say to each other where they say yikes, and they're like, yikes. And that means like, this is offensive, or wow, can you believe how backwards this person is? And look at me, I'm so progressive. And so I infiltrated this group called Yikes on Several Fucking Bikes. That's the name.
That's the group.
That's the name of their group. Mm-hmm. I infiltrated it, and because
yikes, Tom.
I love to troll. See, here's the thing: don't troll in the North or troll in the South. Troll everywhere, every battle in your mind, all the time. That's Game of Thrones, bitches. So I go into this place. I'm doing some light trolling, just research really at
just
this
a little
point.
Side trolling, yeah.
And there's this thread, and it's like, here are all the famous social justice warriors, like Rosa Parks, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. First comment: Gandhi is pure trash.
Someone made this comment.
Yeah,
not you.
No, somebody said this, and I look up this person's profile picture. And, they have green hair, and I make a bunch of assumptions about them right away. And
all
correct assumptions.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
And I just love this thing. And then I go, why is Gandhi trash? And the person goes, Gandhi's a well-known sexual predator.
What?
And I go, I've never heard of Gandhi being a well-known sexual predator. And then, so I Googled it. I type in Gandhi sexual predation. You know what I get back? Almost nothing. Here's what Gandhi did do. Gandhi had these purity tests where he would have nubile naked women lay next to him in bed, and then he would not touch them.
Oh.
Because he's Gandhi.
Oh.
Right? So I was like, I guess this is in some sphere of some...
A little rapey.
It's a little weird.
But it's not a... Well...
But also, Gandhi was a product of his time.
Right.
Like everybody.
Right.
You know, George Washington owned slaves.
Right.
But he was also George fucking Washington. So it's like, you know what I'm saying?
The GFW?
That's subversion, though.
Yeah.
They want to just tear down the entire past, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody can live up to some standard like
Revise it
that.
all, yeah.
If Gandhi's not good enough, then I'm certainly not good enough. And you know what this makes me want to do? Just go the hardcore opposite direction and just be like, who gives a shit? Fuck you. You need to shut the fuck up, right?
I tell you, these fuckers push me right to the center much more than anything else could. Like, I tell you, because no persuasion tactic on the right is going to convince a liberal to move to the center, but the left will convince a liberal to move to the center because they'll go, you people are you're just screwed up. And the thing is, they project all the time.
Here's how I end up in the center is I go to the far left and people are like, we should all cut off our dicks and be women. And I'm like, whoa. That's fucking crazy. And then I go over to the far right and it's like, we should kill all the black people. I'm like, oh my God. And then I just stay frozen in my place where I
am. Stand in the place where you live. By the way, how annoying is REM? Let's be honest.
I like REM.
Really?
Yeah.
I find them annoying.
Losing my that's me in the corner.
That's
me in the spotlight.
Losing my religion.
Let's talk about this though.
Michael Stipe?
Vietnamese food.
Oh God, we had
Zubin took me to the most jank ass Vietnamese food restaurant the other day, and he was like, listen, okay, because I have an aversion to other cultures because America's great. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like Zubin, I know this great Chinese place around the corner, and he's like, no. Let's go eat this dirty diaper food.
What revisionist history is this? I said, let's let Logan decide. And Logan goes, I love a good pho. Because Logan is cultured as fuck.
That's right. He's hella cultured.
Exactly. So I said, Tom, I've been to this place many times with my family. It's pretty good Vietnamese food. You need to get your ass cultured. Let's go. So we went. And you know what we had? The worst fucking Vietnamese food I have ever had.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
It
The
was
place
gross.
fell off.
I told you it was going to be gross.
No one was in the
we
place.
went there.
Normally it's packed. So I think they changed management or something. Now Tom blames me. Even though Tom...
I blame him. I'll never let you live it down.
And I'm going to tell you this now. Even though Tom motherfucking knows that I'm a foodie as fuck and that we mostly agree on food, almost 99% concordance about what a transcendent food, and yet he still holds me accountable for this. Now what? Am I hurt? Yes. Am I hurt? Definitely. Because I want to show Tom a good gastronomic experience. That's why I'm taking him to Wicked Spoon today, which is my favorite strip buffet. Even though it's not great, it's a great buffet. And yes, I'm going to pay for it because I want him to know that I care. All right? All right? Am I hurt? Yes, maybe. The food was dog shit. And I understand why you hate all Vietnamese people now because
don't put
I'm going to take it to the next level.
Don't put words in my mouth.
I'm going to take it to the next level.
I only hate the North Vietnamese.
Is that still a thing?
No, I don't think so.
I thought they unified after.
But I hated them from the years 1960 whatever to 1970 whatever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Till we threw that helicopter off that ship.
Oh, Da Nang.
That was the moment I started loving the Vietnamese people, when that helicopter went in the ocean.
It was a beautiful day. I have no idea what you're talking about. What helicopter are you talking about?
Vietnam. When they're all leaving.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they have they were evacuating from the rooftop of the American embassy?
No, they land on a barge or something, like one of our American ships, and then they push the helicopter into the ocean to make room for more people, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I wasn't alive then, Z. Okay? And neither were you.
I wasn't either.
That's
But
right.
But I sat next to someone who was, and I studied them.
Speaking of Vietnam, isn't that where you got the moral injury thing from? Was from
it was
research about Vietnam?
It was research about military veterans in general.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they would call moral injury shell shock in the old days, and
PTSD,
WW1 and PTSD at the end, and really it's this being forced to be complicit in these terrible things. So the Facebook screeners who look at these videos, right, to kind of screen out terrible videos, they suffer this.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
I'm so desensitized to that shit.
Right.
Like I could do that job.
See, I would be traumatized.
I've seen every terrible thing the internet has to offer, and they're gross.
Now we're not talking about the honey badger, right? We're talking about people getting
No, I'm talking about
decapitated.
bad shit.
Right.
Yeah. I've seen it all. I've seen it all. One time I saw a 10-year-old boy from like Al Qaeda or the Taliban chop off somebody's head. Like, and when I say chop off, he slowly sawed through it.
Good Lord.
And then he held it up, and I was like, "That's enough internet for today." I was like, "I don't feel so good." There's a subreddit for people who aren't deep in the internet game. I'll clue you into this. There's a subreddit called r-eye bleach, and so you
bleach your eyes.
You're gonna bleach your eyes. So it's just pictures of puppies and kittens and duckies making friends with puppies.
Oh, that's nice.
So when you see fucked up shit on the internet, you just go to r-eye bleach, and then you cleanse your palate.
Better. Right,
you cleanse your palate.
So you're ready for the next round.
Yeah, exactly.
The next tasting.
And then you go back to gore.com, and you see a degloving or something like
deglovings
that.
are terrible.
Horrendous.
Eels do that. Moray eels will cause degloving injuries in divers. They'll pull the skin right off.
Have you seen a degloving like from somebody hitting the asphalt?
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's not good.
It's brutal.
It's
a foot amputation.
Yeah.
Because you have to amputate the foot.
It's not good. Yeah, it makes me a little squirrely.
That's why I wear all my gear on the motorcycle, because I don't want to have a degloving happen.
Don't get degloved.
No.
See, I ride my bicycle.
I know.
With no gear except for a helmet, and if I go down, it's at 40 miles an hour downhill.
That's what's weird about the bicycle is like when I'm on the motorcycle, I am geared up,
right.
Man. I have elbow pads, shoulder pads, leather. Like my pants have Kevlar.
I'm getting
in
a
them.
little erect in the
Are
nipples.
you?
Yeah.
Are you?
All this discussion. I'm not a village person, but I try to be one.
But when you go out on a bicycle, you can get going up to 35, 40 miles an hour.
40 plus,
and
yeah.
you're wearing spandex and lycra then like maybe a foam helmet.
Listen, my camel toe is protected.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
So if it go down, the other day I was biking downhill in California, and it was just, the wind was blowing so hard, and I had these little bro glasses on, and I was tearing up, and I was things vibrating a little. And I'm like, dude, I'm one little twitch away from just going over these handlebars at 40 and dying because I have nothing. My nipples are going to be sheared right off. It's going to be a nipple degloving injury, which is what any lactation consultant will demand from a new mom.
Speaking of lactation consultants, do you think we just did a meta-emoji about a lactation consultant?
The supporters know what we're talking about.
If you're a supporter, you got to see my little video. I create these like scratch tracks for Z where, it's just me doing like a little Animoji, and I'm just doing the character or whatever, or like some ideas for the character. And then me and Z get together and we flesh it out and do the whole piece. And you always hear me laughing in the back of the Metamojis because I'm feeding Z jokes, and then, we just laugh our way through it, basically. But I'm worried about you getting a lot of pushback on this lactation consultant thing because, okay, here's the thing. This came from me originally internally because me and my wife had a really terrible lactation consultant. I mean, just horrendous. I fucking hated this woman. She was, and so the lactation consultant you can see in the Metamojis basically based on this one woman.
Yeah.
I'm not saying every lactation consultant is this way, but there seems to be this thing where they're sort of into like shaming anybody who wants to do formula, and
we showed it to the supporters, Tom's scratch track, and they were like, yep, this is all of them.
And they were, but then they were like, don't post it. It's gonna be a shit storm.
And this is the thing: you tell me not to post something, and we're gonna post it.
Then it's on. Then it's game on.
And the main reason I asked the supporters, should I post this, is I know they're gonna say no, and I'm like, now I'm really inspired to post this because we're gonna go do this.
There's something about that. I don't know what it is entirely, but I know that they all, or the ones I've interacted with, tend to have this sort of, I don't know if it's a superiority complex, but it's sort of this like very strict motherly archetype thing where it's like, listen up, bitch. This is boot camp, okay?
Yeah.
This is use a magical time for you. You think this is all magic and fun, and you got butterflies. You saw your new little child, and you're like, I love you. Yeah, well, this is boot camp for your tits, bitch. And it's like, suck it up, new mom. Put on your big girl pants and feed your baby. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is a natural thing that like really, you don't need to enter into the process at any point. You know what I mean?
How about give us a handout?
That's
not true.
People have been breastfeeding. This has to be something that goes back deep in our culture. Like there's got to be some sort of tradition of like really mean wet nurses or something. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I know that moms need some guidance. It is a very hard time, but they need love and support. They don't need, especially when they're emotional, shaming and tit slapping, because that's what it's like. And the other thing is they don't even just like, here, I'm gonna put my hand on your boob.
Yeah.
It's like, it's my boob. Like if Tom Heineberg just came and grabbed my nipple.
I was like, let me see your nips, bro. Let me see your nips.
Yeah.
Hey, why are your nips so flat? They always been flat like this?
And I'm just like, one single, like the Native American in the boat, just a single tear.
I'm like, Z, normally males don't have areolas this large.
That hit a little close to home right now. I thought we were friends. Tell people about my big areola.
Z has very normal areolas. We've all seen them when he dresses in drag and then insist on getting into a bikini. We've all seen him.
Insist.
He insists.
I'm
like, Z, you don't have to wear a bikini for this shot. And he's like, I want to, Tom Heineberg.
You were just taking a shit on postmodernism, yet you're revising history like a motherfucker right now. This is how that actually went. Z, you have to wear the bikini. Tom Heineberg, I don't want to. I've got like the little pubes poking out. You shut up and you don't worry about your pubes. The fans need to see it. Yep. It's very true.
That's the fun part about postmodernism is you can just lie. And then make your
and
reality
say
whatever
reality.
You want it to be.
Yeah.
This is my truth, see? Mm-hmm. This is my truth.
Your truth, Tom Heineberg.
That's right. In my truth, you love to be in drag. That's my truth, bro.
You know what? And you're sticking to it. I like it when your truth's about me. See, your truth is great until it infringes on my truth, which is it's not that truth.
Don't tread on me, bro.
Don't tread.
It's not my fault I look good in drag.
Oh, did we do it, Tom?
I think we did it.
We did
I think
it.
this one is done.
This one is beyond done.
Stick a fork in it.
Oh, God. You know what? Stick a meat thermometer in it for better precision.
Mm-hmm.
This whole stick a fork in it and see if it's wet when it comes out.
Yeah.
Dumb.
What?
I want it to be 132 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's right.
All right. Because otherwise... Oh, so we have a new series. Been working on some shit here in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Did we tell him? Tell him in the next one?
We'll tell him in the next one. No, I would tell him now.
Fuck him. Tell him now.
It's called Story Time.
Story time.
It's where Z just shares stories about his life and his career in medicine.
Yes.
We were going to write a book, but we're too lazy to do that. So we're just doing Story Time.
Story time. Too lazy to write a book. Z-Dog MD. Tom Heineberg. Logan behind the camera. Story time.
Story Time. Z tells some really funny. There's a really funny story about a chameleon that I had never heard before. You guys are gonna really enjoy. I thought that story is fucking hysterical.
It will take you really from Chameleonaire to Charizard in 3 easy steps.
Do we do it?
I think we did it.